What's going on, everybody? D Island Ricks TV2 back with another video. As you guys can see, I just recently got off work and I was just like, man, I want to, do a quick, a brief video discussing, addressing Errol Spence Jr.'s critics who, claim that Errol Spence is nothing special about Errol Spence boxing style. I constantly hear this. I just recently, I'm gonna try to post a comment that one of the fans made or one of his detractors made, when it pertains to Errol Spence, in response to my previous video where I was just talking about how Errol Spence is just on another level. And the difference between Errol Spence and what sets him above a lot of fighters is his three attributes. And I wasn't even going to talk about this. I was going to do a specific breakdown in another video. But I'm going to go ahead and just get this out the way, right now. So I can agree that Errol Spence's style is very basic. Like, he doesn't do anything. He's not flashy. He's not flamboyant. He doesn't do anything. His style is very bland, but it's like effective enough to get the job done. That's why on the outside looking in, it looks easy. Like, it looked like I could get in here. It's like he doesn't do anything that is, not, of the ordinary. It's like everything that he's doing is to the point. And, one thing another subscriber had pointed out about Errol Spence is he gets stronger throughout the fight. Like, during the fight, he gets much stronger. And you can imagine with his, how his physique was and, the strength and conditioning process that he went through when he was with Blu-ray and how it is now. When he was fighting Danny Garcia, he nullified Danny Garcia. He took away his counterpunching ability. Like, that was Danny Garcia was known for. So he took away the counterpunch and he forced Danny Garcia to go in his bag and find other, ways to try to defeat him, which didn't work, obviously. Errol Spence was more hesitant in terms of leaving himself open to get hit with, different shots. So it seems like the car crash almost gave him the second life and made him, a lot better and a lot more cautious inside that ring. So, yes, I can agree. Errol Spence's style is very basic, but he does his fundamentals, like his three attributes makes him so great in that ring. One being his power, two being angles, and three, the fundamentals. The fundamentals. I'm gonna touch on that, but I want to try to touch on everything, get everything that my point across, and different like topics that I want to touch on before I end this video, before I forget. But let me make sure it's recording. But Errol Spence, right? A lot of his detractors just think that his fans just came out of nowhere, and they just think that he was just this built up manufactured machine that was built like ESPN build their fighters, right? And they could just climb amongst the ranks and they don't have to prove themselves. They could just be listed as the best pound for pound. They don't have to fight nobody, take the necessary steps to face the best, to be considered the best, right? So they just think Errol Spence fanboys, like he just had fanboys that just came out of nowhere and people just jumped on the bandwagon. But that's not the case. Errol Spence fan base is just organic. He grew his fan base the right way. The fighters that he called out, he's fighting them. He called out Kell Brook for 9 months. Like, he had to literally wait 9 months because Kell Brook decided to fight Gennady Golovkin. And then he was like, all right, well, I'm going to decide. I think I'm going to try to fight, I think his mandatory or whatnot. I think it was his mandatory at the time. So he made Errol Spence go through a waiting process, and Errol Spence had to literally wait 9 months, like a pregnancy, before he was able to get in that ring and fight him. Nobody wanted to fight him because they felt like they were the bigger stars at that time. The Shawn Porters, the Keith Thurmans. He was calling out all these guys. Nobody wanted to fight him, so he fought Lamont Peterson, the next best option. Lamont Peterson was the only one that was willing to fight him. As you're seeing now with Shawn Porter is letting you know that he's not willing to put his career or risk, his career or certain All right, so pretty much, to make a long story short, Shawn Porter is not going to fight none of these young, hungry guys. And it was the same thing with Errol Spence. He's letting you know, I'm not going to fight no Jaron Ennis type of guy right now at this point in my career. And it was the same way when it was pertaining to Errol Spence. So you can imagine at that time, nobody wanted to fight Errol Spence because he was walking through his opponents. He was destroying guys. And even with the Lender Bundle performance, it just seemed like he seemed like this superhero that just was destroying everything. So it was like these guys was hesitant about getting in that ring with him. Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, they was like, nah, they was kind of like avoiding them, but I can respect it because they was looking for better opportunities. So Errol Spence took the next best option, but he didn't say, oh, I want to fight these guys. Then when these guys say, all right, I want to fight you, I'm going to look at I don't want to fight you no more. He got in there with Shawn Porter, made it a dog fight for his type of fight. So for Errol Spence, like, what people don't realize is his fan base were homegrown. He didn't go out there and just like Keith Thurman and, felt like, he was just this big star and he deserves, $10 million to fight this person and he deserves all this money. Like he was just this diva or whatnot. He didn't have that diva mindset. He stepped in there, got to the ring and fought the battles that was presented to him. So his fans didn't just fall out of thin air. We watched him grow. We seen the growth in the process. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I've been following Errol Spence since his first fight, but I did, start to become aware of Errol Spence when he started to gain notoriety around the time where he was sparring with Floyd Mayweather and things like that. And I seen the process. I seen he's not trying to, speed past the process. And but Errol Spence is going back to Errol Spence in terms of in that ring. Like, it's like he followed the fundamentals. It's almost like I compare it to like a Tim Duncan or Kevin Durant could get you an easy 30 to 35 points a night if he really felt like it. He's so quiet. He don't really talk much. Kevin Durant is mainly known for, of course, his decision and, he's not really that polarizing. Like Kobe is polarizing. Floyd Mayweather polarizing. Kanye West is polarizing. Excuse me, but Errol Spence is more laid back, calm demeanor. That's another attribute in the ring that he has over a lot of fighters. Like you don't see him not too high, not too low. He stays even keel. So when he's in that ring, it don't take for you to, like some fighters, you hit them and they get so upset and so angry that they want to come back and hit you with a shot. Errol Spence like, all right, I'm going to take the shot and I'm going to keep it going. Even through, he never panicked. When he went over to the UK and fought Kell Brook, like a lot of people would have, folded under pressure. But he fought in Wembley. I think it's over 30,000 people over there. In that arena, in that stadium cheering against him. And he was able to go over there and take that title. So to be calm under pressure, he don't respond to trolls. Like he the main one that be trolling on Twitter and laughing and stuff like that. So that mental aspect, a lot of fighters don't have that, bro. They don't. So Errol, when he's in that ring, right, he's always breaking down his opponents, and it just looks so easy, so simple. But when you get in there, his power, like Derrick James explained in an interview, you seen Danny Garcia, he was hesitant to throw because he was like kind of, I ain't gonna say scared, but he was conscious of getting hit with Errol Spence's power. You see what I'm saying? So he was kind of like hesitant. And Errol Spence, he turns after he hits you, lands shots, he pivots, he turns, he does a lot of pivoting and turning. So by the time you're like out of position to try to throw your next shot, so by the time you get your guards up, once he hits you, your natural instinct is to put your guards up. So by the time you put your guards up and try to reset and throw a shot, he done pivoted and turned, and you like, where is he at? Like he done moved and got himself up and trying to like reprogram himself to go to his next, he's so methodical like that. Like Errol Spence used strategy in that ring. It's like he's really like a computer in it. It's like a robot in that ring. And I'm not trying to, hype it up, but that's literally how it is. And he's hitting you with these stunting shots while he's using angles. He knows when to be aggressive and when to be, you know, a little, you know how to create distance. He knows how to, you know, use that ring and preserve, you know, conserve energy and things like that. Like, Errol Spence in that ring is a great, you know, he's up there with those greats, with the Floyd Mayweathers, in my opinion, with the Floyd Mayweathers, with the Sugar Ray Leonards. He just got to go out there and continue to beat the best. And it's not as easy as it look once you get inside that ring. I'm telling you, like, I've been inside the ring with some talented fighters. And I know skill. I'm telling you, talent knows talent. And I know gifted fighters. He's not like polarizing or he's not flashy. His defense, he doesn't have deceptive, like, you know, speed and things like that. But we all know timing beats speed. And speed could beat power. You get what I'm saying? So those three attributes alone, you know, when Errol Spence fights, what people don't understand why boxing is trash right now is because Errol Spence have the gift, and with him and Floyd Mayweather, like, Floyd is just a household name and a big, you know, a celebrity. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he's he's known globally. So when he fight Vegas and all these other, like, fight parties and things like that, like, the whole city is stopping in Vegas and billions of dollars is generated. Where Errol Spence is not on that far scale, it's not on that highest scale, but it's still like I had a coworker who told me, like, Errol Spence, when he fight, he flew to Dallas one time and he was like, man, I got to experience how the city, like, really goes hard for Errol Spence. Like, they stand up, they give it up for Errol Spence. You feel what I'm saying? Other fighters don't have that luxury. Errol Spence literally, Derrick James was explaining this in the interview how, like, I do a lot of research and I do a lot of interviews. I listen a lot. But in Errol Spence interview, in Derrick James interview, he explained how hotels are getting booked. He brings his city a lot of money. Dallas generates a lot of money when Errol Spence fight. Hotels book, Ubers, Lyfts, you know, rental cars and things like that, like hotels, all these things, money is being generated. Dallas shuts down, and you gotta think, like, he could do stadiums. That's how much power that man has. So his star is only going to grow. The more fighters, the more he elevates, the more the fighters he fight, the bigger names, the more he's going to elevate in terms of his brand and things like that. So that's why I thought that I stated in my previous video that you're going to see, Errol Spence should have been trying to step on he should have been trying to step on Floyd Mayweather's toes when he's coming back to fight Logan Paul. You know, he should be trying to fight the bigger names. Like, I would have went after Keith Thurman and fought Keith Thurman because it's a bigger name. And what you can't take away from boxing is its authenticity. People love real, like, they love entertainment as well. So Floyd is great at putting on the show. So I think that's what another thing fighters got to learn. People love entertainment, so they got to figure out a way to find a way to balance entertainment with actual talent and skill and putting on the show. You know, getting knockouts and things like that. People love stuff like that. But like I said, I just wanted to, you know, touch on that. Errol Spence is a phenomenal fighter. To me, it's just so basic about you know, how he go about things. He goes in there, gets this job done. It's like a guy who is a construction worker, or a guy who carries that briefcase at work, and he's not really focused on the outside of the ring things, and he just come in there, handle his business, got his toolbox, come in there, get the job done, and then leave. Like, that's the type of person Errol Spence is, man. And, you know, sometimes people could take things for granted because of, you know, the media and how they, you know, paint narratives and how they, you know, make people look. But Errol Spence is one of the greats, and I'm trying to remember anything that, you know, I might forget about, but I'll probably talk about it in another video. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all got in that comment box, like, share, subscribe. I'm out.